So, die ITB hat man.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this was quite a big bang for a start. And we just decided that we're going to ignore the missing wall and just get started. So hopefully there will soon be somebody taking care of it, and hopefully there won't be too much noise. Of course, my initial introduction was a different one. I wanted to say that Lufthansa is not on strike and we don't have a snowstorm yet. And still, it's ITB. So welcome very much to ITB Travel World. If you've been here in previous years, you probably remember that there was always a problem. Either there was a strike or the weather was bad. But now you've all managed to come here, and that's great. We have a very ambitious and a full agenda for the next 3 years, both here in the lab and on the stage next door. We have presentations, all of them lasting around 30 minutes, and we have very little room for delays. If there happen to be any discussions, you're very much invited to speak to our presenters privately. There is a lounge next door, and that's a place where you can meet. Hospitality Industry Club sponsors that lounge, and you're all welcome to go there. And let me also use this opportunity to thank our sponsors, without whom all of this would not be possible. Before we start, let me give you some housekeeping remarks. If you've downloaded the ITB app, you're able to rate or rank all of our events. And it would be great if you were to do that, because it helps us to improve our program even more. There's a Wi-Fi connection. You find the login and so on the signs there on the wall. Good. So let us start with our first part of the program. It's about the question of how mobile changes communication in the context of traveling and what will happen in the future. People say that there are now more mobile devices in the world than toothbrushes. I'm not sure whether anybody actually counted them. But mobile does indeed change the world. Just yesterday, I read about the large office building of Apple in Cupertino, which is mainly made of glass. And every day, 10 people have to go to the hospital because people walk through the aisles just looking at the devices, and then they don't see the glass wall and bump into the walls. Well, I don't know whether we're going to come back to that point, but in any case, we're going to start with our discussion now, or we have a workshop setting. We have Benjamin and Marius from the Hospitality Industry Club. You have the stage. Thank you.
His German is really, really bad.
Sorry, guys.
So we have to apologize for that. We don't do a typical presentation as was just mentioned, but we do something slightly different because we try to be different from times. And yes, we will be speaking about customer communication in times of mobile first. But let's first dive into what is the Hospitality Industry Club for 3 minutes. If the slide is changing. I have to click it. Okay. Here we go. All right. So we have 3 founders here on stage. First of all, Marius from Hotelkit at booth 107 down there in the corner. He told me to say it's the nicest booth at ITB. Was that right?
Yeah.
That's him.
Have a look for yourself.
Okay. So it's the second nicest booth. Founder of Hotelkit, communication for hotels, internal communication. We will dive into that quickly later on. Then we have Benjamin. Benjamin is from Paris, representing Quick Text and Colossal Factory. He's at our e-travel booth, or e-travel lounge just next door behind this wall. And they have a very, very nice solution for messaging systems, and we'll dive to that into a second as well. And then we have me, the founder of opensmjle, Daniel, and of the Hospitality Industry Club. And guess what? We are all part of the Hospitality Industry Club. And that should be a video starting to give you an impression of what we do. what the Hospitality Industry Club is about is that we were really bored of doing product presentations and traveling around Europe, coming to hoteliers and saying, oh, hotel kit for 30 minutes, we do this and that, and quick text, this and that, and opensmjle, storytelling, blah, blah, blah. So not only the hoteliers were bored about that, and that was the feedback we got from the market, but us as well. So we decided to create something new, something fresh, and that's the camp-style character of evening camps. So we bring together per city 30, 40, 50 people, and discuss the topics that the people want to discuss. And we always bring fresh providers, fresh partners to the different cities. And this year, I clicked. This year, this is more or less the cities where we will be traveling through with the different partners, and you always can get there and discuss with us the topics you have on mind, like AI, like blockchain, switch off PMS, bashing PMS providers. We do whatever you want, yeah? We are pretty flexible, and that's what we want to show as well here with the presentation today about mobile communication. Is anyone based in these cities? Anyone? Anyone wants to come? No one? Go home. No, just kidding. All right, let's dive into it. Where do I have to point? Okay, customer communication in times of mobile first. So we all see that change, and as just mentioned, there's more iPhones or more mobiles than toothbrushes in the planet. And there's a pretty interesting number here from 2018. 3.6 billion users will be using messaging apps in 2018. And that's pretty much coming into hospitality business as well. Last year in the US, we had 400,000 people in hotel rooms being faced with AI tools like Alexa, right? So there's things happening in the market, and the market is changing. And I don't want you to read this, but just to give you an idea of what is happening in that field, in that operation. Yeah, I would never bring up a slide to read it like that. What is happening in the market? A lot. And as you can see, there's providers taking care of that and going into that market with AI and with messaging services. And the big brands are all represented there. Expedia is there, Booking is there. So, I was speaking enough now. Let's go with the guys. As I just mentioned, 400,000 people in the US only being faced with AI voice services in hotel rooms. What does the future hold in hotel rooms? What is the ideas you can bring to the market and experience and whatsoever? What do you see? Where do you see the potential with AI services, Benji?
Okay, so the first thing you all need to understand is that AI is not a thing per se, okay? It's just that, you see, people tend to think that technology moves in straight lines, okay? So in order to understand the impact of AI, you have to understand that actually technology moves in circles. So what do I mean by that is that AI is going to be as important as web was in the 2000s, and in the exact same process. So it started with hardware that became very popular, which is the computer, okay? Then software such as browsers, so Google and website appeared, and you had a connection. So it was internet that people could use from their houses, okay? So you had these three technologies, a hardware, a software, and a connection, okay? So people from their home could start buying travels by themselves. Now, in 2020, we have the same paradigm that is happening. We have a new hardware, which is the smartphone, a new software, which is, well, AI products such as Siri, such as Google Assistant, etc., and chatbots. And you have 4 5G connections, okay? So basically, it redefines the logic of how people approach travels, okay? So the idea is that the PC was made for search. The smartphones and phones in general are made for interaction. So the first thing you need to see is that you used to be self-service. So people used to search for you. That's finished. Okay. Now, if you want to keep existing, you'll have to learn how to sell, because now you know how you can be bought. Okay. You put your availabilities and people take from there. Your new challenge is that you have to understand that we move from a world that is based on self-service to a world that is based on interaction. So that's the first thing you have to see. The second thing is that since interaction is faster and faster due to to internet that you can access everywhere, people don't plan their trips the same way. Before, you had to get all the information you needed from your house and then travel. Now, people have a lot of interactions at all times with you just to get the information they need. So you need to be interactive, and you need to be able to understand immediately where your customer is in his customer journey. And in terms of hotel rooms, it probably won't change a lot. I think the impact will be more on well, people will bring their own device. So personally, I don't think that hotel rooms are going to change, even with Alexa, because, well, probably in 2 years, Alexa will be in your phone, okay? Because it's very difficult for Alexa to perform complex tasks. So switch off the light, it's possible, but they can't have real interaction. So if you want to develop these kind of things, you need to have a device that know people preferences and that people will be able to bring in their room. So don't change your rooms just yet. Just open your connectivities. Just make sure that your room will be able to receive the customer mobile, because that's the key.
I think that like all the travelers know from their homes, since they are adopting their homes and adding home automatization, and they add lots of technology to their rooms, they expect this to have in their hotel rooms as well. As Bench said, I don't think that there is a major change within the technology or within rooms, in hotel rooms, because still it's the most important thing is how is the mattress, and how is like the bedding, and how is the shower, and this is like the hardware that all the travelers are focusing most. And then, as he said, it's going to be your own device. I'm not quite sure whether in 2020 it's going to be, or like in 2025 it's going to be the smartphone, or it's any other device or anything out there that you interact with. I think it's important that you open up your technology, your infrastructure, that all your customers that have like preference and totally individual preferences, there are ones who want to have this device in their room, like a Amazon Echo or a SweetPad or something like this, and then there are the customers that bring their own device. And I think you have to be open for all the different use cases and kind of adopt to what the travelers are want to have in the rooms.
Okay, so that was like the big picture part. The question is, hoteliers tend to think that everything works like hotels. You see, you have something that is fixed, all of a sudden you have artificial intelligence everywhere. It's not like that. Technology is really different from hotels, and that's probably why many hoteliers have struggled to manage technology. The idea is that a disruption or a change that is as massive as web was is something that is taken step by step to be done well. Most of hotels missed the web turn, because when it started, it was not obvious. And all of a sudden, it became obvious. But everybody missed it from the hotel environment. Okay? So if you want to become ready with AI, the first thing you need to do is stop treating it about a thing per se. It's an ecosystem that is being redefined with a hardware, a software, and a connection. So what you can do today, if you go back to your hotel, you just check that your technology is open and connected, because if your technology is not up to date and you can't perform correctly or efficiently all the tasks you need to perform today, you need to change now, because basically the ecosystem is renewing itself. And if you keep with technologies that like an old PMS, an old I don't know what, that keeps dragging you down, that don't connect to anything, it's not directly related to AI. But it's just going to drag you down in general. So the first thing you need to do, it's not changing your room, not buying Alexa, is to put order in your house, if it's not the case already. And then understand that it's not a change of tool that you need to adopt. It's not only a change of tool, it's a change of logic. Okay? From a logic where hoteliers were making services available to a time where basically you are actually taking a step, understanding your customers much better, and actually making a step towards them. And that seems obvious, but nobody does it, or almost nobody does it.
I think there we have a pretty good example as well, and that is Benji and I have a shared customer in the Netherlands. It's a hotel group, teleport hotels. And they exactly had that issue. They were facing a very young crowd as their customer base, between 20 to 35 more or less. And they wanted to open up new channels for communication because they had the feeling email is not the right thing anymore, phone is not the right thing anymore. And then they started step by step, as you just said, opening up WhatsApp, opening up Facebook Messenger, and so on. And over time they realized, oh damn, this is a lot of work and service because we have so many channels. And so they had to bring it together actually into one dashboard. And that's probably something you can explain better than I can, how that can work for an operation.
Okay, so basically, what you need to understand from here is probably not only AI, it's how technology works, okay? Technology has to start from something very small, because if you are a business, you need to start from something very small that generates value immediately. For us, it was putting all the communication channels together and making it available for hotels. And then developing, first we developed an ecosystem, and then we started implementing artificial intelligence in it. Okay, so like any technology, it has a learning curve, and that's something you're not familiar with. Okay, learning curves. Now, if you agree with what I've said, and you're going back to your hotel, and you're going to start putting order in your house, you'll say, okay, I'll see this new PMS, but it doesn't have these features that I like in Opera. That's learning curve. It's because you're switching from a system to another, and you're temporarily losing productivity, and it's going to upset you. The idea is that basically the more you get, when you get a system that is different, you start from scratch, and it can make you afraid, and it can make you go back to your old ways, because you're attached to what, we're all attached to what we're used to. So basically, when Teleport wanted to implement an instant messaging system, they had to abide by new rules. So it was a little bit difficult at the start, so they had a small loss of productivity, and now they have an edge against their competitors, and their competitors are going to say, are telling them like, how do you do it? How did you do it? Well, the owner of the hotel that is going to be here today, he said, well, I just implemented quick text, or I just implemented that, or I just implemented news. But in fact, what they did was having guts. And that's also something that is very important. Change is hard, but it needs to happen now.
All right.
Well, I think you have to have a look on your own and how you communicate today. Like some years ago, you were constantly taking a phone and calling your parents and your friends and like interacting on telephone. Now it's still the telephone, but now it's messaging services, and you're constantly like WhatsApping, chatting, and when you have a look at the Asian countries, WeChat and Lime and all these messenger services over there, they fulfill like way more use cases than WhatsApp does. WhatsApp is at the moment, it's just like going forth and back and communicating. And I guess that since you're used to communicate with your friends in a certain way using your WhatsApp Messenger or Facebook Messenger or any kind of messenger, you expect hotels also to respond in this kind of way, or to at least provide the possibility to reach out them through their preferred messaging service. And as Ben said, it's going to become very complicated because there are Asian guys that use WeChat, and there are the Europeans with WhatsApp, and there is all the US guys with the Facebook Messenger, and you need this kind of channel manager, what he's providing with quick text, to have this common joint inbox with all your messaging service and be able to respond. And because what's going on as well is that when you offer this service, you have to make sure that there is a fast response, because you don't want to wait for an answer on your Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp Messenger. You expect to be or to get instant reply and instant information when providing the service, and services like quick text can help you with this. And then there is the second challenge is to provide or to spread the information within the hotel. And what we see with our tool hotelkit is that what we are providing is this internal communication, conversational based communication tools. So when there is a guest reaching out to front desk through a WhatsApp Messenger, for example, requesting any kind of information, then he wants to have this instantly and very fast. And then there you have the next problem is how to reach out to your employees that are running around in the hotel. And in former times it was like writing it down, posting it on certain blackboards. And what we do and other providers are doing is also providing this kind of conversational internal communication tool that you know from your private life, but there it's more like that something has to be fixed or a guest request has to be fulfilled. But in the same concept as all the other messengers services are doing it.
So think about ecosystems. It's finished to have like one system for one thing. If you're doing something, whatever it is, in your personal life or in your hotel life or wherever, you can't have systems that are, like you see, you can't say, oh, I'll try this, and if it doesn't work, I'll go back. Okay? The idea is that there is no going back. You know that, you all know, that's why you're here, that what we're speaking about, like instant communication, artificial intelligence is the future. The question is, how long will it take for you to take action? There is no shame in taking time. Just know that the longer you wait, the later you will start learning. And the later you start learning, the more difficult it becomes to create a competitive advantage. So what you need to think about is changing or updating your ecosystem. And there are a few rules. So no more like taking tests. If you take something, it's a pilot. Because in a pilot, there is a notion of we really want to change things. It's not, we'll start dating and then we'll see. The idea is that you have to have faith in your own vision. The second thing is you need to know with whom you're going to work. And what I like with, like there are some initiatives with, for example, Hospitality Industry Club that puts together a lot of good technologies, because I don't think there is any bad company that is at HIC, with people that have an open mind. Because we are all startups, more or less, and the idea is that up to now, startup had no chance in the hospitality industry, because we were small. And we had to do whatever Opera wanted, to do whatever such PMS wanted. Now we have created a whole ecosystem of startups that is actually credible, that is here and that stands, that have a new mentality, and this mentality is openness. Before, people like, you see, most of the companies that have been at ITB for the last 30 years, they are saying, oh, you need that, don't worry, I'll develop something, I'll do it. I think it's a wrong approach. Basically, hotelkit, well, they do internal communication, and I have customers that ask for internal communication. Why would I reinvent the wheel? The idea is that we have to stop trying to have big companies that do everything for us, but instead have small companies that are very agile and that are able to communicate together. Because the web took 20 years to complete its tech cycle, because if you invest more on web, you're not going to get an exponential return on investment. Mobile is for now a little bit less productive than web, that's true. But the money you invest in that gives you an exponential return. Okay, so web took 20 years. Mobile, maybe it will take 5 years to reach it, and then it's going to be another technology. And you can't keep technologies that are going to control you and that you won't be able to live easily. And that's what we all try to do now in terms of startup. Our competitive advantage is that we are very focused. We are doing cutting-edge technology because we don't have a legacy. I was with a PMS in France that actually blamed me for saying that PMS connectivity should be free, because he invested 3 million euros in making his PMS cloud-based. And I said, well, it's your problem. Your customer shouldn't have to pay for connectivity, because other PMSs that are defining the market right now, and I'm thinking about Muse, I'm thinking about cloud-based, I'm thinking about Clock, they are redefining the rules, and there is no more price for connectivity. So when you adopt a new technology, also think about how you're going to live it, okay? Because now we're starting a new cycle, which is instant messaging, AI, etc. But the cycle is maybe going to be short, maybe going to be long. What you have to think about right now is also what's next, okay? So you need to be able to work with partners that are not going to try to be vampires and stick to you forever. You take people that are good now, that are okay to work with you and that will make the work, that will make the jobs they are hired for, and you will stay with them as long as they are the best. And when it changes, well, you should be able to leave them. And that's what we all stand for here.
Yeah. I think two more. Do you want to say something? I think 2 more points. Key within communication, especially messaging and AI and whatsoever, I think for any operation, not only hotels, but as well tech companies, you need to be where your customers are. And if they want to ping you on WhatsApp, you have to be on WhatsApp. If they want to ping you on Facebook Messenger, you have to be there as well. So we all need to be open and open-minded. And
maybe not because you want to be nice, because none of you is a non-for-profit, okay? The idea is that you also have to go for startups that will, or companies that will make money for you now. So one of the key elements is the return on investment part. Okay, as long as you're thinking about customer service, and I don't know why everybody is so only speaking about customer service, but you have to think like the real question is return on investment. A happy customer, how much it brings you? Well, it can be a good metric. What I know is that messaging per year, if used properly, the upsell you will generate, the late checkout you will generate, like very simple idea. On a Sunday, you send at 9 a.m. a message to all the people that are 2 in their room, and you say, hey, how about a late checkout for 30 euros more? Well, only this message that is very stupid, very simple, well, it generates between 7.5 and 8.5 thousand euros per tranche of 50 rooms, okay? So whenever you implement something, think about return on investment. And I think that the fact that we only speak about communication on AI from a customer service point of view make you take it for nice to have. But it's a must-have because it generates money for the hotel in terms of, well, I've spoken about messaging, but maybe you have some ROI as well on the running operations.
Excellence.
Yeah, because I don't know that part.
Yeah, no, I think to sum it up, what's really important is that there is a major shift going on in terms of how we communicate to each other. And I think you have to adopt this way of communication also within your hotels in terms of guest communication being open for any kind of interaction possibility that your guest might want to have you, but also with your internal communication and adopting of how people want to communicate within your operations on a daily basis. You know, there are young people coming that are constantly on WhatsApp. For example, we have a 5-star luxury hotels, and there was like the issue of whether they want to have their employees running around with a mobile, and the human resource manager told me, well, it's so hard to get employees anyways, so when I'm not allowing them to have their mobile with them, so I don't get anyone. So there is, this question is not there anymore. You have to adopt, and there is this new technology coming, and there is a lot of new technology coming, lots of startups in the hospitality industry as well. And I think the most important point is that you don't go out and get another island solution. All those solutions that are out there, they are open, they have open API. We don't think that we can do everything. We are focusing on internal communication. Ben and his company is focusing on guest communication. So we connect and we interface, and we provide a service that you're happy with.
Last thing, stop trying to do things better than last year. Because when technology changes, when you have a new cycle, so let's say we've moved from web to mobile, it's not about doing things slightly better. It's trying to do things different. Because if you're trying to do things slightly better, well, basically you're just at a plateau and you're not increasing your productivity in any sense. If you do things different, so you're able to change your mentality, you're actually opening yourself to exponential opportunities. So the last message I'd like to say is stop trying to do things slightly better, have more ambitions, and try to do things different.
All right, and to wrap it up, and now this is really the final sentence because I think we are 5 minutes over the time. If you still have doubts about mobile messaging, AI, and whatsoever, just look at the big guys, what they are doing. Booking invested into AI, Expedia invested into AI, Trivago invested into AI, right? So we know all what will be coming, and there will be chats and AI chats on all these platforms coming in the next months. So Please don't doubt it. And as the last thing, I would like to invite you once more. The hotel kit booth is in this hall, stand 107, if you want to learn about internal communication. Benji is with us at the e-travel lounge, just behind this wall. Come there for coffee, speak with us, meet us. There's in total 10 different partners, which are all part of the Hospitality Industry Club. And apart from that, I wish you a wonderful time at ITB, and I'm not sure if we're still allowed to do a Q&A, but the guys are busy. Just one second. Johanna? Okay, so no Q&A anymore. If you want to meet any of us, come over, come there. And apart from that, thank you very much for your time. Much appreciated. Thanks a lot.